what are we seeing now? Is I still hear it where people are like, oh, I'm going to buy, then I'm going to sell. I'm like, whoa, no. List your property, sell that property, then buy, right? So they're protected, right? And we've seen it, right? Like,
hit it. That's what I'm talking about. Wait.
Okay, now, from the beginning.
Hit it, boys.
all right, this is Real Talk with Carmen Costa. Today I have Kanik with me. So Kanik, I know I came in, I didn't give you any warning, so he's a little nervous.
Correct.
But I brought Kanik on because for the last little bit, there's been a lot of shifts in the market, right? So everybody knows, I'm a mortgage broker. I talk about my team all the time. But a lot of people lately have been asking my opinion on what's happening in the market, right? So everybody's like, should I go fixed? Should I go variable? Why are the rates going high? What's going on? Is the next announcement, are rates going to go up? So, the one thing I wanted to talk about today, and I think it's key and important because I'm seeing this trend. We're seeing it. Kanik, I've brought it to your attention, is everybody keeping up with what's happening in the market? So last week, I had a client approach me and they were like, oh, my agent is saying that I have to do 3-day condition of financing.
Yep.
So, we've talked about this, Kanik, right? Because you've seen so much happen with clients and it's sad, right?
Yeah, it really is.
It really is. So the one thing I want to put forth is if you are in that situation and somebody's saying, put 3-day condition of financing. So there's not a lot of houses being pushed right now. So you can take up to 2 weeks if you want for condition of financing. And we're not really that busy.
Yeah.
Right? So about 6 months ago, we were, lenders were backlogged. I've got lenders calling me asking for business. So now I'm finding that my phone is ringing and they're saying, hey, do you have a deal that fits our model? Right? So you've seen that, right, Kanik?
Yeah, it's definitely gone down in terms of busyness for sure.
Yeah, so I wanted to just put out there is this. Sometimes when you're buying, you rely on the professional, right? We rely on the professional, who's assisting us to purchase that home. The one thing I want to put out there is this. You are the one that's in the driver's seat. So you get to decide what you want to do. Any other influences around you, they can't force you to make those decisions, right? So, if you want to take 2 weeks for condition of finance and then you take the 2 weeks or you take a week, right? I would suggest a week. A week is more than enough. Yep. But up to 2 weeks, even if you need an extension on financing because you need an appraisal done. We're going to get into appraisals because appraisals have been a big mess. So, but Kanik, we've watched it where, we talk about condition of financing. Now, moving on to, listing your property before buying or buying before listing your property, right? So we had a couple come in, till this date, it affects me. It was about 4 weeks ago. The market did a shift in April, right? So, we saw them come in and they had bought before listing their home.
Yep.
Because that was the trend. That's what agents were telling you. Oh no, just buy this property, no problem. I will sell your house in a week because that's what was happening, right? And it's crucial if you're in the profession and you are a real estate agent, you're paying attention to the trends of what's happening. If a house isn't moving off the market, maybe reevaluate the purchase price, right? Because how is a purchase price determined? By demand. Mm-hmm. When somebody comes in and pays for it, that's the value of the home, right? So, what are we seeing now is I still hear it where people are like, oh, I'm going to buy, then I'm going to sell. I'm like, whoa, no. List your property, sell that property, then buy, right? So they're protected. Right. And we've seen it, right? Like you sat in that meeting and I brought you in for a reason, Kanik, because you're newer meaning in this busyness and craziness of the office. You're now directly, working with me.
Yep.
You felt it, right? You sat in that meeting and you were like, I can't believe, what transpired. But, what was your perspective watching that?
Honestly, that meeting was one of the most difficult ones that I've had personally. It was a bit. It was like a shock to see something so real and so vulnerable. It really, because when you're dealing with the mortgages all day, it's kind of words on paper and numbers on paper.
100%.
And that connects those words and those numbers to real people. And that meeting really showed me that this is reality for people. So when they were in the meeting and they realized that there was a mistake due to some advice that they were given and that their original plan that they had thought out is no longer realistic, it's hard to see because they have these plans, they formulate so much around these plans, their future is all made up around it, and then all of a sudden you realize, oh, wait, I can't do that anymore.
You got to pivot, right?
Yeah, you have to pivot, and it takes a lot of courage and a lot of strength to do it and to face it head on. And seeing that kind of realization, and also there was feelings of anger there because you contacted the real estate agent on their behalf and you were speaking to them, but the agent still felt like they weren't being, they weren't looking at the situation for what it is still. They were still a bit, it seemed like, trying to hold on to hope. Like, no, it can work. But
yeah, that list price was ridiculous. So it ended up selling for exactly, Kanik, what I said.
Exactly, yeah.
So exactly what I told the agent. And I'm by no means a professional in the field of real estate, but I do know what's going on in the market because I read a lot about it. I read market trends. So if you're in the profession, in the real estate profession, regardless of what that looks like, you should be 100% in the market trends and figuring out what's going on, right? What's happening, right? So you said something that's key and important. You said that you could feel, numbers, paper,
yep.
Because that's what, so everybody, let's talk about something that's so, I'm so passionate about, automation. Mm-hmm. We should go automation. Everybody do things online. Everything is so awesome to do online when you want the lowest rate, when you want a easy deal, but not every deal is easy. And if your mortgage agent or your mortgage broker doesn't have compassion, they're going to just shift it off because the automation did not become easy. You come to a brokerage that has a heart. Yep. You come to a brokerage that people care about you. I can wholeheartedly say everybody under this umbrella has a heart. So when I look at you, Kanik, when I see you, the first thing I always ask you is, so how did you feel after that meeting? Yep. It's different because we were in 2 years lockdown where we were just processing, not touching or feeling or, in front of people, you were exactly that. It's numbers on a paper. And what can be easy for me to get money quickly? What can be easy? DocuSign. Let's do automation. Let's just make this all automated so it's easy for me to get my $6,000 plus paycheck, yep. Right? Nobody thinks about, here's the thing, the market has shifted. And if the mortgage agent or broker doesn't think outside the box or they don't have the empathy, they don't have the compassion, you're going to have a hard time getting that deal done.
Correct.
Right? Yeah. So those clients that came in the door, they weren't my clients. They were another broker's clients. Yep. And that broker said, this is getting hard for me. You're out. Don't want to deal with you. See you later. And they came into my doors. And let's be realistic. People say, it's expensive. When you're getting a product that, relies on me charging a broker fee, here's the thing with broker fees. I've worked for it. I've worked so hard. But if I look at the situation, Kanik, you saw it.
Yeah.
I work pro bono. Yeah. I don't work pro bono all the time because my husband yells at me. But I'll tell you not for nothing. I'm not driven on, they're down on they're down in the dumps. For sure, I'm going to prey off of that. I'm going to take more money out of their pocket. No, I'm here to assist them and help them and give them the honest opinion, honest solution for them, right? And it's sad because everything is now, let's make automation the thing. Let's make a CRM that, does pushes these files through, just do everything online. I like to speak to my clients. I like to, go through the solutions with my clients. I like to do that. And especially, and I always say this, Kanik, what is my one thing? Everybody can get a mortgage done, right? If it's an easy deal, if it's an 8 straight 8 easy deal. But I'm telling you one thing. If your deal's going sideways, you want me on your side, right? Like you see what I put into every deal. Your deal goes sideways, I can guarantee I will find any way possible to get your deal completed.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like, my husband's like, you never ever showcase that stuff. And I'm like, I'm not here to be showy about it. But here's the thing. I'm watching these videos on TikTok, on Instagram, on Facebook. And I'm like, what the hell kind of advice is going down, right?
Yeah.
You've watched them. I've
Yeah.
showed you. And I'm like, I had a video a couple of weeks ago. The Bank of Canada just made the announcement. What did I say? It's going up 75 bips, right?
Yep.
So if anybody is asking my opinion, I'm not a psychic. I'm not, but by the end of the year, I see about another 1.75. Put it out there. Let everybody hear it. It's 1.75 at least is going up. We know this. Rates are going to be 8 to 9%. If you don't know, now you know, right? Because it's just history repeating itself, right? So it's just history repeating itself. But people, when I hear videos or I see videos and I watch people and, mortgage agents and brokers, you want them to be educated on what's happening in the market. Correct. And that's exactly it. Like you've seen it,
Yeah.
Kanik, like you've watched the videos. Like, what are your thoughts on it?
There's a lot of videos that I see, and then in the comments I see people replying and be like, "Thank you for the info," or they take it and they will, like in the last example, they will base their future around what they think is going to happen.
Exactly.
And I think I think a lot of people don't realize the responsibility it is when you're putting out information out there.
100%.
You have to the onus is on you to do your research, do your due diligence to make sure, because everyone's gonna, the people aren't professionals, so they're gonna take your advice being a professional and base their future around it. And when things go differently, well, then they're left with, a void in their future and they don't know how to pivot.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
No, I agree. And here's the thing, and that's exactly it, Kanik. You mentioned something that is so true. We are the professionals. Yeah. We give advice and people do this. Well, you're the professional. I want to know your opinion. So when I'm looking for service, right? When I look for a service, I really try to see, okay, that person's educated on it. What history do you have with it? I'm not this. What's the cheapest product out there? What's the cheapest service I can get? Because this society has turned to whatever's the cheapest is what I'm going to go with.
Yep.
The cheapest in the long run costs you a lot of money. You get bad advice and you're going to be paying for it for the rest of your life. You are, correct, right? And that worries me because you are 100% bang on. People will say, they sit in front of me and they're like, what do you think? I do this. The best question yet that comes to me every time, you know it. What's the best time right now? Should it be fixed or variable?
Yeah.
Right? And I'm like this. At any given time, I'm going to tell anybody out there, at any given time, the variable product is the best. Yeah. So we know that. You're going to save. You're going to do tons of savings. However, in Canada, the unsecured debt is so high that I would be fearful that if a client, I'm giving advice, I'm doing a paintbrush right across everybody and saying, no, but the variable is the best product. The variable, and this client has an unsecured debt of $40,000, let's just say in credit card, because they say that's the average Canadian over 60% carries unsecured debt of $40,000. They're managing that. And then they have to manage a payment because I said to them, I didn't look at their situation. I'm doing what every broker, variable, go variable, don't worry about it, don't stress. All these videos, oh my God, don't worry, variable, stick to your variable. Here's the thing. Everybody's situation is different. You're hearing it here today. Yeah. Every situation is different. If you as a mortgage professional or agent is not sitting with that client and taking a risk analysis and you're not looking at their situation, you're not doing your job right. You're not. And that's scary. So when I look at people come into my door and it's coming from a second end, people will come back to me. They'll go because they wanted the cheapest service out there. They come back. I've been in the business 20 years. I've seen it. And then they come back and they look and they're like, oh, and they have so much unsecured debt they can't manage, right? And I say to people, don't look at your situation. If you're a great saver as a mortgage agent and broker, God bless, that's awesome. If you're a real estate agent, you have a huge portfolio, because this is the new thing. The portfolios are awesome. We've got a problem right now with unsecured debt. Yeah. We have a problem with a lot of Canadians in debt because they buy, because that's what they were doing during the pandemic. So if you are pushing your views on them and you're not taking a risk analysis of their situation, then you're not doing your job right. And it's scary. If you're painting a brush and you're not educating yourself on how to do a risk analysis on that client as a mortgage professional or agent or a real estate agent, then you have a problem. Because a problem meaning that client's going to suffer 2 to 3 years down the road, right? It's just going to snowball, and the client gets worse and worse and worse, right? Because they were told, and here's the best part, 3 years ago, the variable was the best advice. You got away with it. Mortgage agents and brokers, they were winning because it kept going down. It was awesome. In a rising market, it's not awesome anymore. Everybody's on panic mode. I got people calling me saying, what should I do? What should I do? Right? And not people that came to me, because if you have a good portfolio and you're a good money manager and you know all that, I will sell the variable. But if your portfolio is different and your risk analysis is a total different ballgame, then we look at it in a different situation. Yep. But you've seen it, Kanik.
I have. And
you've seen it. Yeah. Like now you have all these people doing privates.
Exactly.
Privates are winning. Privates are coming out. It's like the bank looks at it, they have the TDS, GDS is too high. Wrong advice. There's not enough value in the home.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. And right now, pretty much privates is the name of the game. But I think one advice you gave me early on in my career that really stuck to me was that if you give people wrong advice, it's not going to come out right away. It always comes out near the end of the term.
100%. And
you know, if they're rate shopping, you want to give them a good rate, you put them in a bona fide sales clause. They're not going to realize it until years down the line when they're trying to get out of it.
And this is happening now.
Exactly.
Right?
So that really stuck with me, and that was like, okay, so I need to make sure, because if I do the mortgage and all goes well and they're signing and everything, it seems like I got away with it, or it seems like I didn't make a mistake, but then you don't realize it till years down the line. So that's, stuck with me. And I was like, I want to make sure I do my due diligence being the professional so that nothing comes out even years later.
100%. And that's the one thing. Cheap is not always the best. So when people upfront, and especially with long-term investments, because your house is an investment. So I cringe when somebody walks in my door and say, I want the best 5-year fix, but is that the product for you?
Yeah.
So it's literally the media, it's like society has put it in your head is get the cheapest rate out there. And what does that cheapest rate, what does it have? What does it entail? What does it entail? Right? That's the problem that I worry. And you're seeing it now. I have a client that said to me, and I'll give a perfect example. I got 199. I'm good, Carm. I want to port that mortgage. I'm like, all right. Go back to the lender. What happened?
Can't port it.
Bonafide sale. Sorry, you can't port it. Now he's stuck in that mortgage. He can't even refinance his outside debt. He can't refinance it. He's stuck with that debt for 4 years or sell the house.
Yeah. It has to be an arm's length sale.
Arm's length sale. So this is crazy. Like now, back then it was awesome, but we're only going to see the damage. We're only going to see the damage towards the end. And I always said that. I said that to you guys right from the beginning. So my advice to anybody listening to this, the best advice you're going to get here, cheap is not always the best. Get the right professional to deal with your mortgage and to deal with anything to do with any other service. When you pay a little bit more, it will save you in the long run. Because all we're seeing now, it's costing money. It's costing everybody money to get their deal done, to save them money. And they're like, oh, but I did it to save money. I did it. No, you did it because the media was like, don't forget, best 5-year fixed, best 5-year fixed. And you didn't know the answers. For a transparent brokerage, for a brokerage with the heart, we will disclose absolutely everything to you. And I can guarantee that TCG, 100% my agents are like that. I'm lucky and blessed that I know they're out there giving the right advice and they're explaining the product to the client. Because if you're going around and I cringe at this, for a purchase of $1 million, you're asking what the best 5-year fixed is. It is never in the front. It is always throughout the whole duration of that product, right? Yeah. So I always say, do you want to save? You think the instant gratification of getting that savings right up front, it's not worth it, because now we're 3 years into these best 5-year products and people have unsecured, like outside debt that needs to be refinanced. Because the one thing I wanted to mention, and I did say, was those videos, the videos that are coming out. And I literally had heard, people are like, oh, this is just a 6-month thing. It's a 6-month thing and the rates. Stop holding your breath. This is not a 6-month thing. So if you're sitting there on the sideline thinking, should I fix my situation, or is it going to get better in 6 months? I promise you, my word here, these rates are not coming down anytime soon. So if you think they are, they're not. Don't hold your breath on it. Whatever your situation is today, take care of it. That's the advice only you live in your home. Only you know when you're struggling. And if you can't keep up with your payments, don't lose your house on an account of advice that says, oh, the rates are going to come down in 6 months. I watched a video 2 weeks ago before Bank of Canada made the announcement, it was a huge following, telling their following the rates were going to come down, Bank of Canada. I'm like, am I in a different zone? Does this agent even know what they're talking about? Like, are you kidding me? Like, we are in a rising rate market. And if you're struggling today, it's only going to get worse. So fix the matter today. Whatever your situation is today, take the advice for yourself. Whatever intuitively you feel, use it. And if you don't know what intuition is or what you should do, go back to the Real Talk 30 video plus, and it'll teach you about what you should be doing with yourself. You should be making these decisions on your own. Don't let the outside world influence you. Mortgages are tough.
Yep.
They're tough. It's a lot to understand. Have somebody with the heart, have somebody with integrity deal with you. That's what you're looking for today. The new trend that should be out there is not what the cheapest rate is who has the heart to deal with me when my deal goes wrong. Because when my deal goes wrong, you want us in your corner, right?
Yep.
That's the only advice. And for everybody out there struggling, we're here to help, right? And I always tell my agents, we had 2 years of training. We weren't that brokerage to say, oh, we have the cheapest rates. Come, we'll buy those rates down. But we are the brokerage that can fix your problem, right? So if you're in a situation and you're struggling and everything is getting hard for you, you come to us and I can guarantee you will have transparent, honest advice, right?
Yep.
Kanik, we sign off all the time with something. What is the best advice you can give?
The best advice. This is on the spot. I don't know. I would say that it's a lot to learn for mortgages and everything. But if you have the right professional in your corner, you don't need to take that responsibility. They've taken the responsibility for you to do the due diligence and learn everything so that they can give you the best advice. Nice job, Kanik. For everybody else, you know what? One note I want to make for my team. I know these last couple of years, it was like, guys, don't sell on rates, sell on integrity, sell on honesty. It's going to pay off. You know what I mean? So, 2 years of having to deal with a market that, wasn't familiar, meaning cheapest rates. We don't do that. Honest integrity is what we are about. And to my agents that stuck by, to the agents that stayed here, to the agents that believe in this vision, thank you, because you will be the ones that will win. I can guarantee. For everybody else, thank you so much for listening. If you have any questions, comments, you want to DM me personally, you're more than welcome. Comment below, hit the like, subscribe button. Don't forget, we also have a YouTube channel, Spotify. Look us up if you're running. You want to do Spotify. I've been running now, so I do listen to Spotify and I'm loving it. So you're more than welcome to like, subscribe, hit the bell notification, Spotify and YouTube. All right. Have a good one. Damn it. All right. Kanik was really nervous though, for real. Kanik, really slow down, man. I'm sweating for you, man. I feel myself pretty grand. I kept thinking don't cough.
But I said,
don't do anything.
The best is I'm like, I'm gonna throw it to him for advice, and he's like, oh, that was on the spot.
That was hard. I don't even remember what I said.
Joint on the corner where the big boys play.